We'll do a call to order and let's begin with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is a public hearing for local law to amend the Liverpool bypass PUD district plan.
Motion to open?
May I have a motion to open? Motion. Second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
I have Sarah O'Connell signed up to speak.
Hi, my name is Sarah O'Connell. I live in the Johnson.
Come up to the
I'm
microphone.
sorry. Thanks.
It's okay.
And the recordings can hear it too.
Okay, perfect. My name is Sarah O'Connell. I live in the Johnson Track area. I am here in regards to the Liverpool bypass. Currently, what's happening is the traffic flow is out of control. The Johnson Track is, in the last 8 years, has been developed all around it. To one side of it, an apartment complex. To the other side of it, the Amazon warehouse, and now we're talking about building behind it. Not only is it difficult to get in and out of my neighborhood currently, but it's concerning to me with the population in that neighborhood. Emergency vehicles being able to get in and out of that neighborhood is becoming harder and harder with the traffic flow. People coming out of the village of Liverpool are speeding. People are not allowing the BOCES complex to relieve its students in the afternoon and in the mornings on school buses. We have personally tried to contact state or local law enforcement about the issues there, and nothing's been done. So now we're talking about building behind it, creating more of a traffic issue in that area, and also just creating an issue in a situation where the bypass and Commerce Boulevard are no longer access roads for easy commutes, and now they're going to be main drags where people are coming in and off of these roads in order to get to a laundry list of different items that are proposed for this. I would really like us to kind of take a step back. Before COVID, we went ahead and took baseball fields away to build a business complex that now stand empty. And we're talking again about developing green space that has traditionally been left untouched. I would like us to consider the next generations coming behind us and what we're actually leaving behind as far as green space goes. We're taking it up, we're building more complexes, and seemingly things become emptier and emptier as time goes by, so that's it.
Next up, I have Lee Bellier.
I basically want to pretty much repeat what she says. I live on Sheridan Road. It's almost impossible to get out of there. Amazon lets out a shift. They're doing 60 miles an hour past the Liverpool bypass by the time they hit the village. There's no speed enforcement at all. All night long, there's just Jake breaks the whole way down the bypass, literally all night long. You cannot, there's zero chance I could open up my windows at night in my house. I mean, you got Sharkies having concerts every Thursday, Jake breaks all night long. Our neighborhood used to have a golf course behind there, and our whole style of living has been completely upended. I'm not opposed to development. I actually, a general contractor, I build stuff. But if you're gonna put like a I came here to educate myself on what you're gonna do back there. If you're gonna put in like Flying J, and I'm gonna have trucks lined up on the bypass waiting to get into Amazon, and I'm gonna have trucks in my backyard running all night long, I mean, what is that doing to our standard of living? I mean, we've been living in that neighborhood for a long time, and it's unbelievable what's happened to it. So I basically signed up today because I knew that once I was educated on what you had in mind, I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut. So I signed up to do that, so I'd like to waive a couple. If I could speak again after I'm educated, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Laura, were you going to?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Laura Caselli from CHA.
Good evening, I'm Laura Casalia from CHA Consulting. I'm here on behalf of Whetstone Development, who is the developer for the project. So just to give everybody a little background, back in 2023, I believe it was, we approached the board to actually establish a PUD for that large parcel of the Jamie zone, which people call the kickball yard. So that entire piece of property was zoned C3, commercial use. And what we were asking to do was to establish a PUD so that we could put residential in the back portion of it and leave the commercial portion just along Route 57. So that was done. The PUD was established with that goal and that plan in place. So what we are here for tonight is to actually tighten the language on the uses permitted, dealing with the commercial portion, just those properties that are along 57. There was some language in the PUD which was broad and had just commercial uses listed, so we wanted to make sure that we were able to define what those uses were, and so actually we are tightening the language to actually specifically state what those commercial uses are. It follows exactly the C3 zoning that you have in your code today. We're not asking for anything more, we're actually restricting it more and requiring a special use permit for some of those uses at the ZBA. And that's all we're asking for tonight. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have regarding what we're requesting.
Will there be anything for residents that are living there to have like some kind of wall up? I'm sorry. Will there be anything like a dividing wall to protect them from sound and whatever businesses go in there? Would there be like a fence or?
From the residential, the existing residential, the Johnson tract. So they will be actually not anywhere near the commercial uses along 57. They'll be the residential will be butted up against them. All the existing landscaping and trees that are there today are staying. We're not changing any of that. And the approved plan for that residential use, those buildings actually been pulled farther away from the residential and up closer to the bypass in 57, so that we could give them the biggest buffer that they could possibly have.
So I understand looking at here that the special permitted uses would be the gasoline service facilities, which I assume would be that there would also be a special permit necessary if somebody wanted to put in, say, the Flying J that was concerns were raised about, or any of the other extremely high traffic vehicle related services.
Correct, they would require.
So that would not be something that is currently in your plan as a general thing.
No, and the commercial parcels are smaller parcels. They'll be, it could be, right now we're proposing a gas station with quick service restaurants attached to them. It's just on a couple acre parcel up there. It's not intended to have any tractor trailer type of vehicles going through it. It's strictly for, passenger vehicles, small commercial landscapers that need to gas up, things like that. And right now, the other three parcels, there aren't any proposed uses on at this point. They're being actively marketed, but that's why I wanted to make sure that any of these uses that are under this current C3 zone listed as special, that need a special permit use, that follows along with this PUD also.
I heard concerns related to traffic patterns. Is an expected traffic study or
That-
to be done?
That was all completed, a traffic study was completed, there's gonna be extensive improvements that DOT is requiring on 57 with turn lanes, a traffic signal, and, improvements to the bypass where the driveway will come out for the residential. Unfortunately, we don't have any control over what's going on at Morgan and, over on the exit where the Johnson track comes out.
I have a question. I don't know if you already, said it, so I'm sorry if you did. When you said residential, are you talking like apartments or like houses?
No, it's, what's been approved is, residential apartments, I'm gonna test my memory, 300 units within 5 buildings, is what we're at now. And that has been approved by the ZBA.
What kind?
And I live in the village, so I think that that would be an absolutely wonderful use of that land. It will allow people to live there and get access both through the thruway into the village and then into the rest of the town and appointments that people want, so for example. So it's a great use of that piece of land.
Has there been any discussion at all in your planning of the European town center style where there's retail and housing mixed, so you got like retail and small service shops on the first floor with housing up above it?
There has not, the residential buildings are gonna be strictly residential at this time, and then same thing, we just dedicated the front portion of the project to commercial spaces.
Any other questions?
I see a hand raised.
Surprise. Are you planning on exiting onto the bypass from the residential section?
There'll be one driveway, there'll be one driveway that is on the bypass, and then the main entrance and exit for the residential will be on 57, where there'll be a light and turning lanes.
Oh, I had one other question. Is there anywhere I could see like a site plan to, you said that there's gonna be an extensive buffer between the Johnson track and the residential. You guys own pretty much right up to, what is it? Yeah, well, right, they do touch our property. And, Nelson Road right there, there's like a wetland that goes through there where the thruway has its runoff and stuff like that. And then there's probably a couple of good acres of woods between that and where the kickball field started. I would really like to know what that buffer's gonna be. If you own all the way up to that wetland, and someone's gonna put a 3-story apartment complex there, I'm gonna have an issue with it. If I have a nice buffer and it maintains the feel of our neighborhood, I can't really see any problem with what you're talking about. But if someone's gonna put a 3-story building in my backyard and put up a 6-foot privacy fence, I'm not gonna be very happy about that.
Well, I can tell you that's exactly what they did on our side of the Johnson.
No, I know that, I know
And
exactly
they-
where you are.
And then what they did was they told us they were putting in a runoff pond to collect all that water, and what ended up happening was we had a mosquito issue. They took down a lot of that forest, which wiped out a lot of those bats, that took care of a lot of those mosquitoes, and now we can't enjoy our backyards anymore from the apartment building that's on the one side of the Johnson track. I don't know how it is
No, I know exactly
on
what
your
you're
side, but on our side, we can't enjoy our backyard all summer long. I'm constantly burning chemicals in my back patio, breathing them in due to mosquitoes if I want to enjoy any part of the very short summer that this area has. So,
And there's also the fact that all those trees block the sound from
Thruway.
the thruway.
Yeah, we
We'll
had a
have an
buffer there.
engineer tell you that
They're gone.
trees do
They're
not
gone.
buffer sound. Well, I can tell you they do.
We could never hear,
completely.
we
You
could
don't
never
hear
hear
the
the
throughway
throughway from our
in the
house
winter.
before.
All you can hear is the throughway in the winter. Come spring, summer, fall, the throughway is gone. You don't hear it. As they take down all those trees, again, it's just going to change the entire neighborhood.
It'd be one thing if it was just gonna be apartments on
Can't-
57.
If you could see, people out.
I said it would be one thing if it was just gonna be apartments on 57 and parking lots behind there, like he said, and then leave the rest of it as the buffer to the neighborhood. But it sounds like you wanna build other businesses along the bypass. The bypass is a bypass.
No, she said
No,
57.
57, she wants to
57.
build businesses and come back with all the residential area, but if they do that with all the
So you wanna fill
residential.
in the entire piece of property.
Right.
And they literally own right up to Nelson Road. I watched them survey.
So let me just, ease some of the concerns here. The approved site plan is on file with the town of Salina. The, in the rear where they're talking about is abutting to the Johnson tract, there are wetlands there and a stream and a tree line that we will not be touching at all. We cannot touch, because of the wetlands. They can see how much buffer has been left for where the residential building is going to be. And then we will also not be building anything pretty much along, any portion of the thruway in that side of the project, just because the soils are so bad in that area. So there'll still be a pretty big, large buffer and, untouched property along the thruway portion.
Okay, so just so I know, how do I get my eyes on that site plan?
You
Town
can
of
go to
Salina?
the Director of Planning and Development and request to see it.
Fortunately, I'm working out of town, but, alright,
Thank you.
it's your mission. Thank you very much.
Since this is a public hearing and we're set to make a motion to adopt the law, are we able to table it until next meeting so people can see the site plan and maybe the developer can come back and present the site plan and answer any further questions?
And if Coates could pull that for us so that everybody can see that. Pete, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question, if I can speak. You're the developer, if it is developed, are you going to be managing the apartment property? Or is somebody else gonna be managing the apartment property?
So I'm not the developer, I'm the engineer. But
We have a third party development, management.
You have a third party, so do you know what the price point of these apartments would be?
So these are gonna be, it's gonna be depending on what the market is at the time, so these are, there's a number of things that have to happen, within the area, so you're talking 3 years away right now. You can look at what's going on in the market right now.
So the market price.
Yeah.
What I believe she's asking you, because
Oh, she's asking for market rate or not?
no, she's asking you, are they gonna be higher end or lower end?
Correct.
Because I built
Market.
apartment complexes and their prices vary dramatically.
Yep, at this point, they're gonna be market rate,
Okay.
depending on when they come out.
That doesn't
Market will
doesn't answer my question.
So
That does not answer my question.
potential section. That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
All right, so why don't we table this motion for right now? And that'll enable you to go and look at the plans. And there could be some conversation between yourselves and the builder and also speak with the engineer with regard to the site. And there's always Sharpies.
So if I may just address the board regarding this, I am happy to discuss the site plan, the layout with the residents, but please note that this is already an approved site plan and there aren't going to be changes to it. What we're simply asking for tonight is to tighten the allowed uses for the commercial
Right.
portion.
So let's wait, let's be patient, and then we'll, at the next board meeting, that'll give everybody a chance to look at it, understand it, and then perhaps make some comments and you can meet some of the needs of the people in the area, okay? And you'll be able to, everyone will be able to look at the site plan, okay? And we'll have some discussion, we'll try and set some meetings up so that you'll be able to speak with people, okay? Right? And everybody has to recognize the site plan is approved.
So we can't change the
It's
site
happening
plan,
regardless.
we can just change how it's applied.
Oh, so we're not here to decide whether this is actually gonna go through. You all have decided that this is gonna
When
go
did that
through.
happen? The previous
We're
board
just
did.
here to let us know what's happening.
The previous board did that, so,
Okay.
okay, so.
No, I don't care who did it.
No,
It's done.
I
And
understand,
that's what
I'm just trying to
that's
say,
what I'm asking
for the conversation that we're
Regarding
having,
this.
okay?
Okay, so it's already been decided, you're doing this, the town is doing this, and we're just here for you to let us know
Yeah, she was just here to
what's
get,
happening.
to get the use permit, that's all.
We're tightening up how they can use what has already been approved by the previous board.
Got you.
I think that's what we're doing.
Correct, there were public hearings for this local law when it was passed, as well as, several
I'm sure they
meetings.
announced it and made it very clear to the residents that they were getting boxed in yet again. So I appreciate this today. We now know that we have to put our house on the market, because this is no longer a sustainable neighborhood to be able to live in, get in and out of,
Not at 100% tax.
and not at 100% tax rate when she's gonna get no taxes. I'm good. No taxes. We give tax breaks to all of these people. We don't get tax breaks. We get 100% assessment. That's what we get. Thank you.
Not wrong.
Okay, so we received a letter 2 weeks ago regarding this meeting, about this whole buildings going in. We never received a letter when you voted on this being approved.
Nope, neither
How
did I.
come?
Nobody in that neighborhood.
Nobody did, nobody did.
Exactly.
There'd be, the whole neighborhood would be here right now. if
Right.
they
We
had.
never received a letter when you voted on
And
this.
they will
And
be
it's
here next
our
time, because I'm gonna go
neighborhood
door to
that's
door.
Well, that's if they're aware.
Oh, they were.
Right,
So-
I'm out of here too.
Bye.
Thank you very much for your time.
So are we keeping this open
You said you were mentioning it till next meeting, correct?
or? They don't.
Thank you.
We'll see you at next meeting.
Well, I didn't know.
So we'll just leave it open, so we can just go to the next one.
Do we need a motion? Do you want that next meeting?
May I have a motion to adopt that local law to amend the Liverpool bypass PUD district plan at the next meeting?
To table it for the next
Yeah.
meeting?
Tim? Yes.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item of business is a public hearing for the consolidated five-year plan. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have Ken Knudsen from Barton and Juice here to speak on this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this figure, which is the plan for the back parking lot, because I think the board has it in your
Yeah.
packets. You might wanna do this.
So this public hearing is a requirement of the Onondaga County Community Development Office. The town, each year that we've been working with the town, has submitted a funding application through the county's Community Development Office for constructing improvements to community infrastructure that serves the town community, seniors, and so on. Some of the grants that have been awarded in the past include the most recent one, which is extending a new sidewalk up the hill here from Old Liverpool Road, up School Road, to the town of Salina campus. The town had budgeted some additional capital funding last year for constructing improvements to the parking lot that's off the northeast end of the building here, which were focused on ADA accessibility, safety, traffic calming, and general protection of all those users of the town office. So what you're seeing here in this plan here is the entirety of this parking lot. Here's the end of the building here, with School Road out here. And the plan is to put some structure into this parking lot in the form of a curved raised island with street trees, traffic, striping for new spaces, increasing the number and the size of ADA parking spaces from 2 up to 6, providing sidewalk extensions and striping from lead walks into the entrances to the town office. So, like I said, this had been partially funded last year, and the estimated costs for this are beyond what's been budgeted. So this year's application is being submitted for $50,000 toward funding the balance of that project right there. So that was submitted last week, and as part of the application process, those that are familiar with this, the Office of Community Development requests that each municipality put together a plan, which they call a 5-year plan. So the purpose of the hearing tonight is to review what's in that plan. We've spent some time with the new administration, engineering, parks and rec, with the new community center up on Route 11. And we've identified some projects here that I'd like to review with the board and the public, and certainly any words of support, any other ideas that you may want to see at some of these facilities would be welcome. Just one thing to mention, that there are eligibility areas within the town that these projects need to be constructed. The ones that I'm going to review here are all within the eligible areas, and they're basically the town office complex here, a couple of parks, Sarah Park and Burnham Park, as well as the new community center. So I'm going to run through each of these. These are not necessarily listed in order of priority, with the exception of project number 1 on the 5-year plan, which is what we're calling phase 2 of the campus improvements. So this parking lot right out here, as you come off of this lot back through here, you've got a daycare center that uses this facility. You've got sheriff's office, you've got striped access way to the fenced in playground that's out in the back, large expanses of unstriped paved areas that require traffic calming similar to what you see here. So the conceptual project for number 2 on the list here is improved vehicular circulation and drop-off area for the daycare center, new signage, striping to emphasize traffic and pedestrians in the area, and also associated speed tables, islands, and/or signage and material delineation. So that's been identified as project number 2 on the list beyond what's being submitted this year. Project number 3 is Burnham Park enhancements. The town recently invested quite a bit of money in both Burnham and Dewar Parks, I believe, and put in a perimeter walkway up on Burnham. And what they want to do is to continue to do improvements within the park. So one of the ideas is to install a university acceptable playground with ADA compliant access and servicing, at a location to be determined. In addition to that, install various site amenities and furnishings like signage, benches, bike racks, seating, tables, and so on. So that's been identified as project number 3. No budget yet established for that. Certainly there's more opportunity for additional amenities and improvements. Number 4 is Sarah Park enhancements. The town actually completed a survey last year in order to assess community interests, solicit ideas for additional improvements to Sarah Park in the Linkport neighborhood. The survey was essentially conducted through the Linkport neighborhood, and there was a separate children's survey that was also prepared and summarized in that. And the majority of the input had preferences for new features and site improvements, engaging people in an active and playful park neighborhood. Top preferences there in the survey included updating the 2-year to 5-year-old playground equipment to include climbing structures, slide, tunnel, interactive play elements, and imaginative play features. In addition to that, nature play elements, pool renovations, and a splash pad potentially improve walkways and picnic areas, and expanded courts and athletic facilities. So that is included under Project 4. And then finally, Project 5, I mentioned the new community center, which is seeing a lot of use. There are some green space areas around that site between Route 11 and the parking lots, and then also there's a town-owned site of around 1 acre that is between the center and Roxborough Road. And Parks and Rec have identified the need for additional green space for hosting outdoor events, which could include establishing a formal lawn area for public use, and then associated parking enhancements and additions to be able to house those events, new universal playground structures for the area for children's age 2 through 12, formal outdoor gathering plaza area for mixed-use activity and passive recreation activities would also be potential ideas. So the town is looking to invest basically in community services and facilities for all those folks that use this campus, community center, and the local parks. So if the board has any comment, or if there are any other public comments in support of the projects, ultimately, any comments that are given tonight will be incorporated into the plan. The updated plan is going to be submitted to community development along with public hearing notes, resolutions, which would then make for complete application for this year's application submitted by the town.
This has funding from grants attached to it?
Yeah, so again, the $50,000 grant has been requested for this year's project, and there's a local match of 25%, I believe, that goes along with that. But again, the town has already budgeted $100,000 for a capital project. This year's application would seek to fill the gap on what we're estimating the cost of that project. Sure.
Last year, they put in sidewalks on Electronics Parkway. Was that part of the project from last year? Was that
Whereabouts? I don't believe so.
from the thruway all the way to Hopkins Road?
No, that's.
Was that the state that did that?
I'm sorry, what?
So was that the state or the county that did that?
No, it was the town, it was a grant. That's what they said at the last meeting, that there was no money in the budget to plow the sidewalks. We have people walking down Electronics Parkway in the wintertime, and our highway department does a great job, so this isn't about them. But nobody plows the sidewalks on Electronics Parkway. And then they told us last meeting that the sidewalks on Old Liverpool Road now the responsibility belongs to the business owners and the homeowners. Is there any money in your project to help maintain these sidewalks in anything that you're doing?
Right, not under the community development project. Again, that's specifically investing in town infrastructure. It doesn't cover operation and maintenance.
Yeah, but every time you guys do a project, it adds more money onto the taxpayers. So my question is there money in the budget for next year to cover the cost of plowing the sidewalks
That would be a question for the supervisor, not a representative.
All right, my question to the supervisor.
Let's go to this project first, okay?
Okay.
If you come here in the morning, when the children are being dropped off for their activities upstairs, it's chaos out
Mr.
It's-
Supervisor,
wait,
I've been here for 38 years, I've worked for this town. I know the
there. Yeah,
area.
and and the idea is also to increase the sight, your ability to see around that piece of, it's a heating element or a cooling element. So that we're trying to make it safe for the kids. We're trying to make it safe for when the kids are egressing from upstairs and going out. This is really designed all around to basically fix this parking lot. That's the major.
That's a phase one.
Yeah, that's phase one. That's the town of Salina office campus, parking lot and traffic calming. That's what we're trying to do, is to make this safer. Plus, there needs to be more ADA compliant parking spots out there. And if you've ever left here during the evening, people drive really quickly. And what we'll have is an island there to inhibit that really quick movement. So this is really an attempt to fix this area so that it's much safer.
Make it one way. You fixed it. Make it one way around the building. You fixed it. It doesn't cost you.
Which may happen, again, there's a mass, we're looking at this site more holistically, and there's probably a master plan that needs to be pulled together, beyond this parking lot off the northeast for this area right here. So again, eligibility requirements for this particular grant, for this particular public hearing are eligible areas based on income, community space, senior focus, ADA compliance, so senior centers, community centers, libraries, town office campuses used by the entire community is basically the focus of the grant.
So we're attempting to submit a grant in relationship to the money that's available. That's what we're attempting to do in this, okay?
Well, if it affects the taxpayers, we don't have any more room to pay more taxes. And all the projects that we're doing, we have to look at projects and see if it's really necessary to not waste the money like it was wasted before.
Look, I'm not a person that wants to waste money. It's really for the safety of those children. It's the safety of those children.
And
for us to have enough ADA compliant spaces.
This is also getting money that doesn't come out of our taxes to do the work. So that's what we're talking about, is using grant money that does not come out of our taxes locally here in the town to do the work that needs to be done. I think that's what we're talking about.
Right.
There was I realize sidewalks aren't part of this, but just like the sidewalks, they put the sidewalks in, nobody plowed them, everybody's in the road. And if we were, as the town, to plow those, there's a cost to it, correct?
Which is why the local businesses are responsible for plowing their sidewalks.
All right, we have a question over here.
Yes, sir, I barely can see, is that a median in the middle of the parking lot? Is that what you're talking about?
Correct. It'd be
Like
a
an
raised-
island?
Raised median that is surrounded by striped parking slots with aisles on either side of that.
So my next question is, are you going to push back the parking lot?
The
Or
only expansion of the parking lot would be, as the supervisor said, right at the corner here, we need a little more space to get 2 lanes past the.
Right, that's why I'm asking that, I don't know what that wooden thing is. Are you going to push back the parking lot to cover that
A
up?
couple of few feet through that area.
The reason why I ask is because I've driven school buses for Liverpool, and it is hard for us to get, I act like I'm still driving school bus, but it's hard for them to get in and out. So if you're putting a median there and not pushing back the parking lot, it's gonna be very hard with cars being there for these buses to get in and out. And that's not safe for those kids.
Sure, great point, and,
You know, anything we put together has turning radius and shown, so we've got 24-foot lane with basically outside of those parking stalls for two-way traffic, 22 to 24 feet.
We'll take a look at the turning radius for a bus. Question to that?
You mentioned the new community center. You mentioned adding some ADA compliant parking here. What about adding ADA? We only have 2 spaces for that place. We have senior meetings where there's more than 2 people that need those kind of spaces. And then we need more parking, more space for buses, road trips and things like that. You talk about more green space, but you didn't talk so much about parking. You're talking about places for kids to play and things. We need more parking spaces and more ADA compliant parking spaces. So I would appreciate if that could be looked at as part of the addition to community center.
Sure. No, that's a great comment.
Thank you.
That would be part of phase 5.
Yeah, again, these are just listed in no particular order, and each year when the town revisits its 5-year plan, you're gonna discuss the priorities of those projects and see which one, using input like this, which one rises to the top of the application.
So none of this has actually been approved, right? These projects, like
No,
phase
these
4 is like earmarked for year 4?
Correct.
Is that the idea of it?
Yep, everything starts with a plan. This is an outline of a plan, just to have these projects in the queue, and to have meetings like this, to solicit input. This is only a $50,000 grant, so whatever's come up with, developed, needs to be somewhat within budget of a $50,000 grant.
Another thing you said earlier was splash pads. Like, from my experience with other townships throughout the state, they get rid of their pools, put a splash pad in, try to sell it to the public, saying, oh, this is gonna be much better, but within a few years, they tear that out because it's just, they can't maintain it or it doesn't work. So, you know, I'm hoping that going forward, we're not gonna replace the pools with splash pads. It's a waste of money and it's not worth it. Just a heads up. That's all.
No, thank you.
And how about some improvements to Richfield Park? But my question, she raised a very good point. Where I go to church, we have a school and we have buses that come from North Syracuse and Liverpool. And the turning radius, you're looking at this on a clean sunny day with no snow. What happens for plowing, clearing the parking lots? Because after this winter, we all know how much parking space the snowbanks took up.
Yep.
So having a median, okay, it may be pretty, but is it practical? Maybe there's something, either shrinking it or something, so that it doesn't create an issue for maintenance to clean the parking lot, to maintain the parking lot, but also, since we do have a daycare and buses do come here, we've gotta think about that. Despite what everybody thinks, they don't turn on a dime and they don't stop on a dime.
Sure.
So that has to be in consideration. No matter what it says, 24 turning rate, I can assure you, they need more space than that from my own facility and me directing them to pick up littles. So, just enough question.
So basically at this point, the process is we're creating overviews of steps that we would like to achieve funding for, and we're saying, okay, we like this idea, can this agency give us money to do this? We're not doing a final engineering plan?
Correct.
Okay.
You're submitting the plan with notes of the public hearing to community development to show compliance with the program.
Just to keep the discussion on track.
Sure.
Sir, did you say that the local area would be giving 25% to match the community grant? And that's from the state? Is that from the state or?
So it's Onondaga County is apportioning money through the federal community development program. And then they take that money and they allocate up to however much they get. They've allocated $50,000 per applicant, up to a certain amount, and it would be 25% of the grant amount would be the minimum cost share, local share.
So 12,500 would be our share.
Right. Plus, again, what the town had already committed and budgeted for last
name is George Palmisano, and I work here at the Salina Town Hall, 28 years. I'd like to just clarify for the general public and for the town board, if I could.
Sure.
The northeast corner of this building that you're talking about, I had the opportunity to speak with Jason Hoy, our town engineer, many months ago about this. This young lady is 100% right. This is a choke point in the back here where the buses come through. When the snow is stacked by our highway division, highway and parks, it is very, very small. It becomes very small. Buses come out, parents come in to drop off. This is just for clarity. I made the suggestion to Mr. Hoy, we take some grass, we take some field, we've got many acres back there. Open this up a little bit, another 12 to 15 feet, will not hurt anybody. Less grass for my coworker to cut. And it takes this choke point here out of the question. We have lots of snow in central New York, everyone knows that. This is a VRF system that heats and cools this building. That's outside. That was here in our renovations of 20 and 2021. That can't go anywhere, but the grass and dirt certainly could be. I realize the process right now is a plan, funding. This is in the weeds. We're talking about maintenance, we're talking about structure and how to do it. Thank you.
We could add in the engineering notes.
And
Yeah.
Changing that checkpoint in the grant application to make it more desirable to give us the money.
And that utility that's out there makes it incredibly difficult to see anyone coming. If they're entering that area, this area back here, it's incredibly difficult to see them. So it's very important, because you've got parents dropping kids off, parents going that way to their work, and we have parents driving that way to go to work. So we have to open that area up so that there's greater visibility and safety for the parents and the children that are coming in and leaving.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
So, may I have a motion to approve a resolution adopting the
We need to
consolidated
close,
five-year
we have a
plan?
motion to close the public hearing first.
Motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the resolution adopting the consolidated five-year plan?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Paul?
I have John O'Connell sign up to speak. I guess he may be gone. Mary Landers. He was on Barclay Road. So
I'm Mary Manders. I live at 211 Holly Drive. And I'm just here to follow up on something that was brought up last fall. There was a gentleman who asked about houses for being insulated near the airport or the overpass of the planes, which come over my house every day, all day. And I wondered if anything had been done or followed up on that.
We have been following up on it, we're to Manning's office right now with next steps. We started off with local and the airport, and we're just getting sent to each person. But somebody mentioned that Manning, might be able to help us get the information we need and see if there's any existing programs.
Okay, any idea how long that might take?
No, but you can, I'll give you my number afterwards, and we can get in touch with each other and I'll let you know.
Okay, I would appreciate that, thank you.
It's also going to depend on what's happening with federal funding as well, so, a lot of federal funding may be gained.
I have George Love signed up to speak.
Good evening. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I worked for the town park part-time for 5.5 years, going on 6 now. Just a little background, Chris Benz was the Parks and Rec guy for 10 years. He got paid $39,000. Last year, Nick, now one of my favorite persons, Harold, hired Jake, which I think was one of his best moves he made as a town supervisor. And in doing the split that he did, he also had Mr. Benz get paid till the end of the year because that was his contract. So we paid $70,000 for Jake and the $5,000 move, and $39,000 for Chris for the year. That was part of the year for Jake. In doing that, separating the parks and recreation to Parks, Highway, and Recreation, it created a schism. And that schism was with the workers. The workers were the ones that were caught in the middle on that. And unfortunately, a lot of workers aren't coming back because they didn't like the moral attitude that was happening. The morale was terrible. And I can speak from that, from experience. And the question I have for you folks is that why can't we just put that back and undo the get-evenism that was there from Mr. Parrow? And that was the whole reason for the move, was because he didn't like Chris Benz and he didn't like Mark Newman. And so that move was made as a gotcha. And now he's gone. And I don't see any reason that can't be fixed with a very simple move. Because John Vito doesn't really like parks, never did. He does a great job at Highway, and I won't take that away from him. But as far as being a parks director, not so much. Mark Newman has been working for the town for 26 years. He knows the whole job, all the time. Mark is a very black and white person. He follows the rules. Evidently, Nick Power didn't like that because he didn't follow the rules. And he wanted Mark to change things, and Mark refused to do that. He also didn't like being lied to, which he was. So if we take the parks and recreation and put them back together, and Jake is in charge, and Mark is doing the work that he's done for 25 years, it will be together, and it will be coordinated, and it will work like it did before. Because last year, it didn't work. And I'm proof of that. I was there, and I watched the whole thing disintegrate. So get evenism didn't work, and you guys had a chance to fix it. So either fix it or get off the pot.
I have a question.
Yes.
So it was like the lawn mowing and the maintenance, correct?
The maintenance part of life, yes. But that coordination has to go along with somebody that's going to do recreation.
Which would be,
Jake.
okay.
Jake is doing recreation, that's what he's hired for.
Right, but I'm just wondering, okay, and then.
And he's willing to coordinate with Mark, who does the work,
That's what
to get this to go the right way, which is to have all the parks in good shape. Have all the parks in good order, which they weren't last year. We tried. But when you take a group of people and you say, go here, and then go here, and then go here, and then go here, nothing gets completed, and nothing looks right. And as a result, well, we don't know where the money for the splash pond went, but we might have 3 pools this year. I know we're not gonna have 4 because electronics are shot. What's gonna happen to that, I don't really know, if that's gonna be fixed. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be, but it's not gonna be this year.
we're working on it.
Right, I know. There's a lot of fixing to be going on there. And the people will be very happy there. the people in the area would be thrilled that that would be fixed. But these parks are huge. I mean, Burnham is 54 acres. And to have a bunch of guys go there every 2 weeks and try to make it right, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So I'm asking you to take a look at that, get it done. It's springtime. I'd like to go back to work. So you guys. But I thank you for your time. I appreciate your efforts, and I thank God that Tennessee has picked up. Little Nick.
I have Pam Adamo signed up to speak.
Good evening, my name is Pam Adamo, I live at 106 Beeley Ave, Connecticut. I just had a couple questions. I wanted to know if you were gonna follow up with us tonight. One was about the big lots issue, if we were gonna be privy to any information you found out. Another one was about the community center, there wasn't any funding for the staff, but we have on the agenda tonight to fund a motion to approve appointments for the seasonal parks maintenance. So I was just curious if that was already in the budget, because it's called appointments, or if it wasn't in the budget, because we talked about not having any money to hire anybody to, be at the community center on the weekends or evenings when people wanted to have an event. And another one was just for clarification about the snow removal. I was here at a meeting that was either at the end of October or the beginning of November, and Mr. Parro did tell us that the public sidewalks, there was money that was gonna happen. And he even pointed at me and smiled and said, and in your neighborhood too, and I live on Brewerton Road. And I didn't see how that could happen because the sidewalks are terrible. But he did say that there would be money in the budget for sidewalks to be plowed with a small little machine. So just for, being honest and presuming goodwill. I just wanted to bring those things up. And ask if we could get an update.
Big lots, big lots. The boats are out. And the reason the boats were out was when the Salina Redevelopment Corporation came into existence. Hidden, sort of, in the language was that they could store items in there. That's why the boats were there. We have been fighting to get, if you'll recall, the lights were on at the time there. We finally have received payment for that. Okay, so the town did not need the electricity. There was some damage to the building. That's going to be rectified, I believe, by Steve Case, Rand, or his dad. It's been a very interesting time for me since January of trying to figure out exactly what happened and why it happened. As of March 31st was one of the dates, and it turned out to be in this month. All the boats are out, okay? There's been some damage to the building. The question is, what are we gonna do with the building? Are we gonna look at the developer and see if we can do something with that space? There's a large number of questions connected to that.
I have a
My
question.
hope.
Do you have the contract? Did you
Yeah.
meet with Steve Cates and have the contract that was signed in December of 2025? Or did anybody review the minutes that previous board all said yes to, except for Daniel The week after that, there was a contract signed by Mr. Case in the town of Salina for the parcels at the Big Lot project.
Right,
I was just inquiring about that.
right, and then we had
until
to,
July.
okay, and then we had to approve it, and then
It was approved.
we, right,
It was a
but,
signed contract.
but both sides had to agree to it. And we demurred, in other words, we stopped for a little bit. We also had another
This was
conversation.
signed before you were in office.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right.
And-
So there's a
and-
contract
and-
that they have until July to say, yes, we're gonna go through with the
So-
project or not.
So we're in the process of talking to him. There's a $400,000 gap in there, 350, you know, there's, between the bond and how much that we get for the property.
Cause
So
I
we-
too have talked to Mr.
So
Case.
we're discussing,
And I got a
that.
question for the two of you.
So,
You two knew about this contract. You two knew it was a signed contract. You voted yes for this contract. But said, oh, well, we don't know where it went after it was signed. So why, knowing that there's a signed contract, does the new board not know about it?
well, we do now.
Well, you do now, but you didn't for the last
It took-
3 months, and
it
everybody's
took a
been
while,
railroading
yeah.
Mr. Case. and
So-
he just wants to sit down with all of us and discuss what we want. But that hasn't happened yet either. It was in the minutes that the two of you were gonna sit down with Mr. Case and have a discussion with him, along with the residents being able to allow to speak to the man. When did that happen?
Really quick? That obviously was always our intention. Lisa and I did try to meet with him through our,
He's never heard of a single one of you.
through our codes. We were asking for his contact, we requested.
You already had it, you had it in it's in the contract.
Numerous times.
And he also has a contract stating that he was allowed to have those votes in there. It's in the contract. Why does nobody know about this contract? Why does the board not know, the supervisor not know, the attorneys not know? Nobody knows anything that's going on. Because we as residents, we have the right to know. You don't get to keep this stuff secret and we gotta find it out through little Google searches. That this isn't fair to the residents. I mean, we have the right to know. And nobody wants to tell anybody anything. And I don't understand why. Why is this a secret? What kind of games are being played here?
I promise you, on my end, I can only speak for myself, it's not.
I'm only
it's not-
asking you two because you two were here before they were.
Yep.
Therefore, you knew there was a contract and nobody told him. And why didn't anybody help him and his attorney find this contract?
Ma'am,
Well, the town of Salina sits here on their thumbs, well, the new administration knows nothing.
ma'am, would you give her an opportunity to respond to you?
Sure. We've waited enough time to be responded to.
So I asked the questions, and Lisa, you can jump in whenever you want, about ensuring that there was community input, and again, that the board would have final say, so nothing would go through without, right, we wouldn't develop a site plan, we wouldn't approve that without community input, regardless of what was in the contract of it, like a date, 31st, July 1st, whatever it is, and then regarding the discrepancy, not the discrepancy with the money with the sale of $100,000, we were told that that money would be recouped with like building permits and site plans, that money, so the town would not see a loss.
No, the building permits and all that, okay, I sat at that meeting, okay, and everyone sat up there, okay, you two were sitting right there, and it stated, the town, Mr. Parr made it very clear, okay, you guys, the town, were gonna eat that money, okay, and pay for all the permits, surveys, and everything else that had to go through. So we, as residents, taxes again that are gonna go up, we were gonna be hit with that. So when you sold the property to say Mr. Case, okay, who now has a contract, all right, which is contingent on everything, but the balance of that money, under that, let's say that 400,000, it was stated right out of the mouth of babes, I guess you could say in that sense, okay, that the town was eating it because that was the agreement that was made. So now to sit here and say that the, like, you know, the money like basically disappeared, no, the town's eating that, unfortunately, okay, which is really sad for us residents, because now it's another bond added onto the bond of the community center, all right? Or it's almost a $9 million bond, okay, that the residents are going to have to pay taxes on. It's not fair to any one of us, okay? So I'm just saying that, everybody thinks money disappeared, okay? But when you go back through and you listen to what was on tape and look at minutes and stuff, it was stated right then and there, okay? That the town was gonna need a lot of that money to pay, like I said, for the title insurance, for the title, for the deed, for this, for that, for the surveys, for all this other abstracts, everything else that had to be done with it. And that's not fair to the residents. So I understand where Tammy's coming from saying it too, and I understand where you're coming from. But it's just, I think everybody jumped the gun on this whole thing from the get-go. And maybe if everybody would have really done their time to really look more seriously through what was going on, maybe this would have never went through and we wouldn't have seen that. It was basically eating a $2 million debt. So that's all I was saying.
Can I ask a question, please, Mr. Supervisor? Wasn't part of that parcel 400,000 where the, was it 200 or 400 where the restaurant is? Wasn't that a separate piece?
No.
No, it's a different parcel. Yeah, it was like 4 different parcels, like
Separate parcel, a separate parcel.
That's
When you look at the contract, I believe this is memory. We were gonna be paid $1,625,000 to $75,000. The gap is fairly large between what the bond is and what was being offered. Now, we had a meeting with Mr. Case today, and I suggested to him that perhaps the town should get, I highballed him. I said, maybe 220, maybe 2,250,000. That would have cleared it, we would have made a little profit. He wasn't very happy with that figure because what he thought he'd be able to put in there would cover that. We then had a very long discussion about how people in Mattydale were a little upset over the votes and also the electricity. And so there was a discussion, and he began to I may be improperly reading what he was saying in response to me, but I think he began to sort of move the price point up, okay? I may be wrong. We made a number of suggestions, and the site plan is just these sort of funny little blocks on there. There's nothing really elaborate. So we spoke with the architect, and I think the architect's going to begin to draw out exactly what's there. I think we're talking, we spoke about extending the lease for maybe another 3 months. And then we'll come back and we'll discuss what's going on. My concern is the following. If you look at the US economy right now, things are gonna get more and more and more and more expensive probably for the next 6 months due to all of the oil stuff that's going on and what's going on in the Middle East. That could last even longer. I'm from a state that's a gas and oil place. I spoke to some friends, and they said it could even extend even longer than that we may be feeling the effect of that. Maybe as much as 7 or 8 months out from here. I don't know. I mean, they're all sitting there trying to figure out what's going on. So my worry and concern is we need to figure out what we're gonna do about that property. I don't think it's incumbent upon the town of Salina to eat that money, okay? I just don't see us eating that money. We're gonna have to figure out a way to make money. We may have to wait 2 years before we develop that spot, okay? We may have to wait, keep paying on the bond, and then wait, and perhaps we'll be in better economic straits. Now, I'm sure all of you are not having any problems whatsoever paying your electric bills or your gas bills because you have plenty of money in your pocket, right? Am I correct or incorrect? So I'm just suggesting perhaps we wait. Maybe we'll get a good deal out of it, maybe we won't get a good deal out of it, and then if we don't get a good deal out of it, we then try and rebid this and go to RFPs and see if there's a way we can make some money. It's really, that gap in money is substantial. When you figure that, let's say it's 400,000, a gap of 400,000, the average income of a family in the town of Salina is $50,000. $50,000, that's a lot of money, 400,000. So I really think we should, there's an old saying that the Chinese had, one should be like a fox walking across the ice and listening to hear whether the ice is going to crack and you're gonna go in the water. So let's.
So when do we get to hear of him? When do we get to talk to this guy? What are you guys were supposed to talk to him?
Okay,
Set up
so,
local meetings and stuff. When do we get to do
he's going to begin to redo the drawings. And it will look a little more, there's these funny little boxes, and maybe we'll get some vision of what it would look like. Frankly,
Well, there's no sense to do conceptual.
yeah, I mean, it's conceptual, and one of the issues that we suggested to him today was finding a way to actually have a rec building somehow incorporated in all this.
Is he, okay, the original sale of those properties were 5 lots. Is it all one lot now that had lot line changes? Or is he gonna develop and put together all 5 lots? Whoever develops it, because when it was sold, it was 5 separate lots. What is it now?
It's still 5 separate lots.
So he has access to all 5 lots that he is presenting a site plan for. Is it still all 5 lots, or is he streamlining that?
It would probably be all 5 lots for him to be able to make that money on them.
Because part of that is behind the new
I know,
community center.
I know.
So I have a question. So if the property sells, that whole $2 million comes due immediately upon the sale, am I correct?
No, there are ways that can be manipulated, and then what you would do is you rebond it. I mean, there's a whole set of things that can happen. It's still a question of that $400,000, what are you gonna do about it?
So what happened?
Wait, is that correct, Nina?
Yeah. I mean, we would have to wait until the tax ban renewal.
Right.
To make a payment out on the.
So then we have, it's in a sense a sort of a game, but that's a lot of money.
So what happens if we waive this guy off and just use that Big Lots building as a recreational center, put up some nets to keep the kickballs from going through the windows, make sure it's actually safe in there, but actually have that as an indoor recreational facility.
That building is
That
full of
building is
asbestos.
full of asbestos, you cannot have children in that building. That building is full of
That's why he
asbestos
wanted
and
to
has
knock
been
it
for
down.
years.
So that has been good, that has been proven?
My husband worked on that building and he pulled off the job because it's full of asbestos.
it's unfortunate what's happened, okay, we don't know what, we haven't been told, so we don't know what the end date is, okay, of this contract. So let's say the end date, which we've all been here, let's say it's July 1, okay? If July 1 comes and he doesn't give a proposal, and is not gonna do anything, okay? Then it's null, it's done, it's over. At that point, we have to look for another developer, okay? Which hopefully doesn't sit there for 2 years, okay, that's the whole thing. I would hope that Mr. Case, okay, after holding this for so long, all right, would at least, if he didn't want the property, even now, he'd say, you know what, I know I have until this date, but you know what, after going through all this, you know, I'm not gonna buy the property, you know, whatever it is. And whatever it costs him as a penalty, he should just pay that and we're done. But in the meantime, okay, if there's other developers out there that may wanna do something, or may wanna come into our community, you know, let's start looking, let's start opening it up then, okay? Unless we can get a concrete from Mr. Case that he does wanna do something with this building. The biggest issue from the beginning was, when it was in the newspaper, with his comments, it was apartments and retail. I'll be honest with you, after being in this neighborhood for almost 30 years, I don't want any more apartments. We need grocery stores, we need banks, we need pharmacies. We need to put Mattydale back to the way it was 30 years ago, is what I'm saying, okay? And we have nothing, okay? So I would hope that even Mr. Case as a developer or any other one would come in and say, you know what? We need a grocery store, we need this, we need that. No more apartments, we have enough right now. And I think that is also a big thing. But like I said, it's either you're gonna do a job or you're not gonna do a job. Being in real estate for as many years as my family's been, this is, to me, makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And I hate to see that the town and residents now, we're all paying for this, and it's wrong. It's not right, so we really need to, finally put our foot down and make it either, I'm not gonna say it on thing, but it's either think or, you know, forget what you want, you know, and just do it, so.
Well, my friends coming in, all these important people go down that road, and it's like,
Right.
well,
That's,
it really comes.
Well, I had a conversation, basically, he wanted to develop an apartment complex with storefronts in the front of it. He said that if the residents were not interested in these apartments, sit down, tell them what you want. I don't live in Mattydale, but I'd like to see it back in its heyday. If there's something that you would like, you want, something that you really would like to see happen in that site, talk to him about it. He said he'll build anything you want, but if he doesn't know, because he hasn't had the opportunity to speak with any of us, he's kind of just sitting there on a contract that isn't going forward.
Now,
Yeah.
just to be clear, let me have the fellow in the back
So,
ask a question.
so one quick question, so the chicken place there, that's not part of this deal. That's its own business.
Oh.
It's completely separate, you can look it up.
I was told chicken.
Like, it's a whole
The restaurant is part of the package.
So
Okay.
they have signed what they're gonna sell with it, because right now, somebody from Mills owns it, so.
They only lease it.
They only lease the spot.
They don't own the property.
They don't own,
It says owner, but not the property.
they don't own it. It's
The town owns the property.
the town, basically, okay? So, what I hope we'll be able to do is I want Mr. Case to be able to present to people so everyone can ask questions. Now, when you begin to try and say, what we need is a grocery store, okay? Recognize that grocery stores don't make a lot of money, and it's difficult in some cases to have a developer add a grocery store. Okay? So we're in a situation in which a bond was for a substantial amount of money. We have to figure out a way to make most of that, if not a little bit more, and let us begin to talk to this particular developer. He seemed pretty flexible today about trying to meet the needs and meet everybody in the community in Mattydale. He doesn't understand how much the putting the boats in there got people upset. I think he does now. So let's give him 3 months. We'll see what's going on. Then we'll begin to be able to figure out where the economy is going, which is a factor in terms of how much money he's gonna be able to borrow, et cetera, okay? So,
On that interest on the bond, it would be okay for the town, if the town did sell it, not to immediately pay that bond off. Is that correct? And just continue to pay interest for a little bit? Or is that capable of doing that? The interest is 7.5, is that annually over the term? I mean, how often do they pay it? Is it quarterly, is it every 6 months, is it once a year? The interest to the holders that purchase the bond.
do you know?
The muni,
So
the
right
muni
now,
bond.
that's a ban, and so we pay it annually. And
7.5 in one payment?
I don't know the exact figures on it, I'll take your word for that right now.
Well, I'm just asking, because I do service bonds
Yeah.
in a bank, and there's different types. I know it's a municipality, but some of them can be monthly, some of them can be quarterly, some of them can be twice a year, and some of them can be just annually. And if it's 7.5, it's not every time they get paid. So that's why I was just curious of what the
And
concern
recall
was
that
about
municipal
the
bonds and the bonds that are issued by banks are quite different, so.
No, we have many bonds too.
Okay, yeah,
We
municipal,
have,
okay.
my bank services corporate and municipal. We've got a lot of New York states, we've got a lot of, different municipalities. They might not be in the general Syracuse area, but we have municipalities and power companies that belong to municipalities from all over the country.
Okay.
So that is how the bonds, I mean, it's the terms of the governing document
So-
for the bond.
I would like to move on. Believe me, we're gonna be revisiting this, on a number of occasions, just so that there's clarity. And we have a deal or not have a deal, and then we'll perhaps, go to do some more RFPs and see what's going on. Especially if Micron begins to really start heating up, that is a really valuable piece of land. So, I would think one of the best ways to deal with it is to just wait. So, that's,
Sir, if you want me to ask the questions, and then they'll continue those other questions in the next meeting, so you can move forward?
pardon me?
I had 3 other questions. Do you want me to bring them to the next meeting?
Please, if you would, it's getting kind of late,
Yeah,
so.
we got it. I'll bring them.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the March 23rd, 2026 meeting minutes?
Second.
All those in favor?
Did we finish resident speaking?
We finished residents, yes.
May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the master services agreement with VNL for 2026 services?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? May I have a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the emergency gasoline agreement with the Liverpool Fire Department effective May 1, 2026 to April 30th, 2027? May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. May I have a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign a new lease agreement with the County North Children's Center, Inc., effective May 1, 2026 to April 30th, 2029, subject to final legal approval? May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to extend the lease agreement with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department for their facility located in Town Hall through October 31, 2026?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with SS Funding and Procurement Services, LLC, for municipal grant writing and application services, effective April 13, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a resolution to approve an intermunicipal agreement with the town of DeWitt to conduct a survey of Town Line Road at a cost to the town of Salina not to exceed $6,000. May I have a motion?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Question. $6,000 is DeWitt paying $6,000 too?
Yeah. We're gonna divide it, and it might not be that much.
Are we
So-
looking into like maybe seeing if there's any grants or any kind of funding that we could get for it?
Yeah, we can wait and then not have the road open. And that road, the road, I cannot tell you how many times the fire departments have asked me to get that road done. It's a mutual aid road. It's incredibly important that we have it. We should never have gone through this before. It should have simply been paved by the previous supervisor. I still to this day don't understand why he did that. It has an effect on the Lynn Court Fire Department. I have fire chiefs coming in asking me to please do that. So, the problem is, this was all farmland at one point, right? There are these little plots. Is it 10 feet that belongs to DeWitt? Or is it 5 feet that DeWitt owns, so that we can get a survey done? We end all of the argument about who owns what. We own the majority of that road, and we'll give CHIPS money to fix it, okay? There's also a possible way of paving it by using the paver from the town of Manlius, which is something that the town of DeWitt does frequently, and/or we may find a cheaper way to do it. So it's really trying to get that road open.
So this is the first step in getting the money.
It's the first step.
Let's go for it. Motion.
He has a question in the back.
Yeah, I don't wanna wait for any grants, I want that road open as quickly as possible, I'm from Lake Court, so that was one thing that I could not stand about Arrow. I fought with him on having it open, he said there was no money, he then put up guardrails. If there's no money, how's there money for guardrails? Which,
And how much?
we get live right to my face, so.
And the guardrail was done by a company from Geneva at the cost of $7,000 or $6,000, somewhere in there.
Right.
Okay, so, I mean, let's get the road fixed, let's get it so that people can go back and forth. It's really important, because if you're attempting to respond, in the town of DeWitt, there is a senior center. You're losing 5 minutes going all the way around. Those 5 minutes actually mean the difference between life and death for those seniors.
A lot of
It's
times-
really important.
A lot of times the first responder for that is actually the medical car from Mattydale Fire Department. So a lot of the medical services, the initial EMTs around here are actually provided by the 3 medic cars from the Mattydale Fire Department. So having that access open so that Mattydale can get to those portions of the town to provide the medical mutual aid while we're waiting for the ambulance to arrive is crucial.
And also one more thing, my wife has witnessed it multiple times with tractor trailers that have to come up and come back around. They've actually, making the turn, have gone off the road and gotten stuck during one of the snowstorms.
I know that. So,
I just wanted to,
so
that's all.
now that the weather's getting to be okay, let's pave that road, okay?
Yeah.
So, may I have a resolution to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, it's really important that we do that. Okay, town controller. A motion to approve budget modifications and transfers as submitted. May I have a motion to approve those budget modifications and transfers?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, here's the most controversial, motion of all, is a motion to authorize Paula Primerano to attend the 2026 New York State Town Clerks Association Annual Conference, April 19th through the 22nd, 2026, to include registration, hotel, meal, and travel reimbursement at a total cost not to exceed $1,300,000.
Which was already budgeted.
May I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
A motion to approve the 2026 Parks seasonal maintenance appointments submitted by the Highway Department. May I have a motion?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor? Excuse me. A motion to appoint, may I have a motion to appoint Pete Weber to the position of season gatekeeper effective 9 May 2026 at a seasonal salary of $2,860.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign agreement with Salt City Renegades? May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? May I have a motion to approve the temporary street closure of Malden Road, Westwood Ave, from the Hinsdale Fire Department to Burnham Park on June 7, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. for the Salina Bombers Little League Parade. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Absolutely.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to waive the 30-day waiting period for a liquor license for HIEXP Marketplace located at 5418 South Bay Road, which is the Holiday Inn Airport. It's under new management. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
May I have a motion to waive the 30-day waiting period for a liquor license for the Cool Time Club located at 2721 Hudson Road?
Motion.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion sorry? Sorry?
It just is motion.
I know, I forgot that.
May I have a motion to approve the March 2026 Revenue Expense Control Report submitted by the controller?
No vote necessary for that.
Oh,
Just
okay.
stand to receive it.
Motion to, and this is even more controversial than anything else, a motion to adjourn.
Well, 1 second, I'd like to just take, and ask everybody to take a moment of silence tomorrow for the fallen officers that happened 2 years ago that protected our community. And I know it's not tonight, but for tomorrow, just take a minute and appreciate all they did for our community and leaving their lives on the line for us.
100%. Yep.
So, thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
one quick statement. First of all, the new supervisor is a breath of fresh air from what we get. So I want to compliment. I would ask you to talk to the bailiffs in this Salina court and talk to them about some issues that are very important. That's all I'm saying. I know you know.
And, you know, the real issue is, as you know, there's a division between the courts and the town supervisor. It has to be separate. That's something that I hope that gets resolved by the judges and we work something out, okay? So, it's, all that's in discussion, yes, I understand.
There is an issue that is very serious, and I think you need to know, but they said that you won't meet with them. so.
No, I never said I wouldn't meet with them. The problem is, that's up to the judges. Really, it's up to the judges, and we've worked out, we've provided some information to the judges about the salaries, and there was a lot of.
I'll talk to you after about it.
Yeah, there was a lot of miscommunication, actually, so.
Thank
Okay,
you.
may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?